Hello and welcome to the ARK of E Podcast. My name is Noah.
And my name is Gavin.
And we're the Blanchard brothers. And we're back. Braving lots of things.
Yeah.
I guess we'll go ahead and say at the top of the episode.
Stay indoors.
We are recording this good ways apart from each other.
Mm-hmm.
You seen a movie called classic picture, The Boy in the Plastic Bubble?
Yes.
It's kind of like that.
It's with Jacob Gyllenhaal, right?
Close.
Close?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they ever say that was just like a straight remake?
I don't know.
I mean,
don't think so.
Yeah. But he was mobile.
Yeah,
that was
weird
the
thing.
key element.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we ought to start making our own food. Eating out of cans. Watch the guy you're with.
Okay.
We don't know who. We'll find out who it is.
We should probably also say at the top.
Find out who's
like,
the thing.
We're probably gonna make light of this at different points.
Yes.
And we're also gonna try and take it seriously.
Yes.
But we're gonna try and have some fun. And I mean, say what you will, we're not profiting off of this.
No, we're not,
because it's free
and we'll go ahead and take a second and say up top, our mother is a semi-retired nurse. She'll tell you just like anybody else. Cover your mouth. Be careful where you go. Wash your hands.
20 seconds or longer.
20 seconds or longer.
Maybe for
warm
the length
water.
of this podcast.
Yeah. Just you know what? Go turn the water on. Get it a nice warm level. And just wash your hands this entire podcast. But you got to wash them like you're Eric Benton on ER. You can't is his name Eric too?
Is it? No.
Eric Benton?
Yes.
And it's
Eric LaSalle? No, Peter Benton.
Peter Benton. I'm sorry. Good pull. Good job. You got to wash your hands like you're Peter Benton scrubbing in to a surgery on ER.
Yeah.
You just got to take it one by one. Get the scrubbing all over. Get the soap going, and then you got to hold your hands up backwards. Let it drip down, and then when you're dry, you're good. Should take you 20 minutes to go anywhere nowadays, but that'll do it. That'll take care of it.
Okay. So, anyways, obviously, we're doing this in the midst of the coronavirus of 2020.
Yeah,
shit is crazy right now. Again, we're not trying to make light of anything, but we are going to discuss our top 5 virus/outbreak movies.
Yeah.
Because it's on the brain.
Yeah.
It's on the brain right now.
I think I said this the other day when we were talking about something that, like, the minute that this became a thing in China, Contagion shot up to, like, number 1 on trending and on Prime.
Yes.
And that's why I said when we make our list, let's just go ahead and say Contagion.
We didn't say that before we made them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it probably would be smart to take it off the table because it's clearly
the best one.
At the moment, like, revisiting it, which I have not done yet.
It's probably...
I have rewatched it since theaters.
Yeah.
But it's still been, like, at least 2 or 3 years.
Dude, that scene when Kate Winslet wakes up and she starts coughing, I'm just like, motherfucker. You know? It's like her, of all people, and then, like, you know, Larry Fishburne's okay. Like, damn it.
And... also, you probably saw it in the episode description, but I want to lay out the course of events for people, because maybe you don't want to hear about more coronavirus shit. Maybe you don't want to hear about any outbreak movies. Maybe you want to skip ahead, because I got some mini reviews coming for you.
Yeah,
some
we got some of those. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you haven't seen. So basically, some of what we've been watching, that sort of thing. Then we're going to transition over to the TV arc. We got to talk about the last 3 episodes of The Outsider, but mainly the finale and how we felt about it overall. We chat a little bit about 000. I know you haven't finished it yet.
We're calling it 000. We're not 000. Triple Z.
000.
Okay, that works.
I
get it. No, that works.
000. It's literally spelled out.
Zero.
The new Amazon Prime show, or at least Prime is carrying it. It's a big international production. We'll get into all that. Talk about that a little bit. And then, hopefully, you listened to part 1 of top 20 favorite albums.
I did.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Did you download it as well?
I did.
Counted?
I downloaded it and I listened to it in the car.
I like a staff that supports each other.
Well,
that is an episode that I recorded with Mr. Sunshine
like being
Mayfield.
Publicly shamed on microphone about not listening to podcasts you aren't on to make somebody think
The
I should probably
long
listen to
con
this.
finally paid off.
I should probably just go ahead and download this shit. You know, even if I just download it, play it, turn it down at work, let it roll for an hour, he'll be happy. That's fine.
Fair enough.
But I did listen to this on the way down. Interesting
it.
stuff from you guys. I like it. I'm ready for part 2.
Okay, part 2 is coming, but
good
because you and I got together, we're gonna go ahead and throw in your top 20.
Yeah, because you didn't ask me to make a list.
I mean, I mentioned it at some point,
and I did,
and now we're getting to it.
Yeah,
you know,
I redid it on my phone on the way down here.
We're also the guys who just released a top 20 of the 2010s, and it's March. It is March.
Hey,
so
a lot of stuff's been happening these 3 months into 2020.
Yeah.
Not shaping up to be a great decade so far.
Good time to just bank a lot of podcasts, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Speaking of that.
Yes.
You...
speaking
really good
of what?
one. Really good one I think you would enjoy. Dak Shepard. Kumail Nanjiani.
Kumail
Nanjiani. Rob...
Corddry?
McElhenney.
McElhenney?
Okay, yes. They all just sit around and talk about their obsession with the male form and them having worked out, not worked out, who does it for them, what
This is a whole podcast?
Oh my God.
When did this launch? I've been waiting for
No. It's not a whole new one. It's just Dax's show, but he had the two of them back on. Because I didn't realize this, but apparently...
Armchair expert, is that
yes.
correct? Okay.
Apparently... what's his face broke the internet a couple of days ago, months ago, with his shirt like showing how ripped he was for this new Marvel thing he's doing later on in the year.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yes.
And he's going to be in the Eternals.
Eternals,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
And it's just it's nice because like having done the fitness thing before, listening to like drop sets, your supersets, all that, what they did, it's interesting. It's nice to listen to them do that and realize it's like there is an insane amount of work that goes into what you see that you aesthetically is pleasing to you in something. And of course Rob's whole angle from It's Always Sunny is like, I'm going to get really big and then I'm going to get like super ripped. And one of my favorite moments was he said that like one night in the peak of him being like ripped and jacked, he was in bed with his wife, Caitlin, from the show. And she out of nowhere just goes, I just want you to know, I am not attracted to this at all. And he's like, I didn't ask her about it. We weren't talking about it. I didn't ask what she thought. She just wanted to tell me out of the blue. She didn't like the way that I look. And I was just like, that is fucking perfect. But I think it would be something funny you would like to listen to. And then Peter Berg and Mark Maron was actually really neat because I didn't know that the two of them had such a like beginning together. Like they lived together for a while. They were kind of responsible for each other, kind of doing. And it's all in lieu because Maron is in that Spencer Confidential that just came out with Wahlberg on Netflix that I watched. That's going to be one of my reviews.
Okay.
If you haven't.
Cool teaser.
Yes.
I guess that we're on the podcast arc right now.
Just, throwing it out there.
I listened to Cheadle on Maron. Good episode.
Okay, dude. Can I just say this?
Go ahead.
Is Don Cheadle not the dude? Like, just the dude of our...
Has never been in question?
It never has been, but I'm just letting everybody know who does it. As Dad would say, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. But Don Cheadle, dude. That guy, I could listen to him talk for...
Top 5 Don Cheadle movies? Is that an episode?
Why don't we just do his whole filmography? We haven't done an actor yet. Why don't we just start with Don Cheadle?
I would not be opposed. Cheadlin. Don Cheadlin.
Cutting the Cheadle? No.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Off mic. Okay. Let's get into it. All right?
Okay.
Let's kick it off. We're doing a top 5. Again, we already spoiled it. Contagion's my number 1.
Me too.
I'm gonna kick it off then.
Go for it.
I already told you ruined it. I have a tie at my 5 slot. And again, this is viral / outbreak movie. You didn't clearly define it for me, so maybe we can talk through whether you think these qualify or not.
Yes, we could do that.
I got a tie.
Okay.
I cheated. Shivers from 1975.
Yeah.
And Rabid from 1977.
Ooh.
Both from Mr. David Cronenberg.
Ooh.
You got Shivers, which is on a small scale.
Mm-hmm.
It's an apartment complex, essentially, where shit starts going crazy. And then Rabid kind of expands the scale. They're different, like... Shivers is more centered, like the beings become sexualized, and that's how they're
right.
passing it.
Are they all
It's
jumping
in
in the
an apartment
pool at the end of that
complex.
one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I only remember that from 100 Scariest Movie Moments, but okay.
No, you're remembering it from A Decade Under the Influence.
Is that it?
Yes,
That is
because
Good
Shivers
job.
is not on
It's not
the
scary.
100 Scariest.
That's right.
But anyways,
Good pull.
very creepy, very gross. This is kind of my stand-in for, and I don't mean to step on your toes, but this is my stand-in for maybe like a Romero movie, which I don't have on my list.
I don't.
Okay, I was going to speak in generalities, but and it's a different take. And again, I like the transit. They're 2 years apart, and just seeing the transition between. They're both still super low budget, but he's working in Canada. He knows how to use the dollar. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to use the loogie. What am I talking about? What do they have up there?
I mean, probably at that time they still had the franc, maybe. I don't know. Whatever the French had. I don't know.
Not sure. Anyways, they're creepy. They're lo-fi. They're gross as hell.
The Addams Family. Oh, what?
And again, it borders on zombies, so there's a little bit of a sci-fi element to it, but it's unique unto itself, particularly Shivers, I would say. Rabid's a little more traditional, like, creepy ghoul looking people.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Okay. That's what I went with. I was trying to
No.
broaden it up a little bit. If you've never seen him, it's a good introduction to Cronenberg, but he's also a dude who has like 3 kind of distinct phases to his career, and you can kind of jump into any of those. And I know people that like completely disregard the 70s output and are all about the 80s.
Yeah.
And then hate anything that's not in the 80s. And then I also know people who are like, no, it's like I'm a History of Violence, Eastern Promises, A Dangerous Method kind of guy.
Give me that guy. I want him. Yeah.
I celebrate the man's entire catalog.
I'd rather die for Cronenberg.
Yeah. So
That works.
that's my 5 slot. Shivers and Rabid.
My 5, I'm interested, I think, because, and this is as a whole, this is zombie, this is viral outbreak, this is everything. I'm always interested in the mundane moments surrounding the start of something. I'm not necessarily like, oh, the world's gone to hell and I have to do. No, give me like on the ground what's going on at the time. And I saw, maybe this shouldn't qualify as one. Maybe the thing in it wouldn't qualify as a pandemic.
It's not the thing, is it?
No, yeah, that would be like that should be everybody's number 2, just to show you how quickly that like shit can go crazy.
What's your number 5?
Do you remember Pontypool from Canada?
Motherfucker. That's my number 2.
Oh, okay. We can table it.
This is the benefit of the short list. It's fine. Whatever.
No, we'll table it for 5. That was my 5.
Okay.
Let's go to your 4.
My number 4. Excuse me. Might be stepping on your toes. Fairly new, but effective. It Comes at Night from Mr. Trey Edward Schultz.
I didn't even think about that one, dude. I completely forget about that movie.
And because it's not...
You don't know what it is.
It's not so much about what it is, because again, we kind of came to the conclusion that it's just fear in general. It's the fear of the other, the fear of what might happen. But it does take place in a post-apocalyptic setting with some sort of airborne virus that presumably can be transmitted because they're burning the bodies.
Right.
I remember that. I mean, that's literally how the movie opens. So, again, that's not really the focus. It is a people-on-people movie, which is always kind of the most interesting aspect of this is like, yeah, coronavirus may very well wipe out a ton of the population. But the ramped up scare factor around everything, and also just how divided we are in general, and like nobody can agree on anything, has led to a lot of, you're not taking it seriously enough. Well, you're making light of it, and that's not good for anybody. And a lot of back and forth. And it's not hard to see that like that core element can escalate to a level of just fucking, you stay away from me, you stay in your place. Oh, I don't know these outsiders. I don't trust these people. And then the natural tensions that boil over from that. So I love this movie for an exploration of that side of where this could potentially lead.
And I know it's not sexy, so it will never get into a Hollywood movie. But like, I also think it's really interesting that we have not seen. It's one of the reasons why we can say Contagion is like really great, because it does pop up in that. But I think we don't think about the other side of well, it doesn't matter about that. We need to, let's pool resources. Let's cut this. Let's do that. Everybody go home. Let's try and just contain this thing. Let's do this. And there is like a concerted effort on a certain on everyone's part, regardless of like what it's going to cost, what it's going to do, that we all know we need to do something about this. And we do kind of come together. I hope we don't ever get to that point where like things are breaking down, like you said, like this, like It Comes at Night. But I feel like one of the things you don't see a lot in movies is a lot of the like, let's pool resources. Let's try and do something. Let's try and get this going. Let's try and do that. Let's do something. I think it's like we always find it as
you see a
we're
lot
late.
of
we're done. You
see a lot of the panic in the moment usually, and then if anything, if you do have the happy ending kind of scenario, if anything, it's you've been isolated with this one small group or person, and then all of a sudden when it expands out, it's like, oh well, the government came in and fixed it. It's good.
Yeah.
Like it's usually a lot of that, and that's again, we've said it. We're going to continue to say it, but Contagion is by far the most just grounded and realistic depiction of something like this. That again, when you were watching it in theaters at the time, was like, oh, okay, this is kind of like SARS or like it had H1N1 had happened.
Yeah.
By then, so it had a different feel to it, but for some reason, it wasn't as like just scare. I mean, I remember being like creeped out by it and thinking it was extremely effective, and
especially
everything.
the end shot.
But oh god, dude, the reveal at the end of that movie, incredible. That's one of those things. I'm like, there's definitely still people that have never seen it and are all of a sudden catch it. And it did well when it came out.
Yeah,
but I can't wait. I'm probably gonna rewatch it tomorrow night. I'm thinking.
Is it you have to rent it or is it free on Prime?
I think Hulu has it right now.
Okay, good.
Somebody has it.
Somebody should have it for free. I mean, obviously, they could make a killing right now if they had to pay rent it, but still.
Yeah. And of course, if you type in virus movies on Google, there are a billion outlets that are releasing their top 20 virus outbreak movies to watch while you're in quarantine, etc., etc. So we're just jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, might as well.
Whatever.
We're just doing 5. We're making it easier for you. You don't have to read as much.
Okay.
Or listen as much.
So where were we at?
My number 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to cheat here at number 4 just because I think it's interesting on both sides. Same premise, different directors, different years. I really like The Crazies. Not so much the back
This is your
half.
number 3, actually, right?
This is my number 4. I gave you my 5.
No, you gave me your number 4 as Pontypool.
My 5 was Pontypool.
Oh.
Your 4 was that.
What did you kick off with?
Pontypool, number 5.
Oh.
You said it was your 2. I said, let's wait a minute. You went to your 4.
I started.
Now I'm going to my 4.
Oh, God.
But I'm cheating with my 4 and saying both versions of The Crazies.
Okay.
For the simple fact of like just how something spreads through a town and just the opening stuff. The whole back half, like the government knows they're watching you and like you get out of the town and they've got an eye on you kind of thing, which happens in the remake. And then like everything's just going to go to shit in the 70s version. Like it is what it is, but just.
I think also one of the rare cases where I'll just straight up be like, this may sound like sacrilege, but just watch the remake because I actually do think it's a superior film.
Me too.
In this particular case, as well shot. Oliphant's pretty dialed in.
He's Oliphantastic.
It is definitely from that era, a little bit forgotten, but I feel like has enough of a kind of a cult status of people who are like, no, this was really solid for the time and still holds up. So, yeah, I would more ride for the remake in that case. That's one of the rare cases where I would flat out be like, no, just watch the remake.
Because I don't know. This was what? That was after Dawn? After Day? It was after he was done with that. Or was it before he went to Dawn and Day? Was it in the mid?
It's before Dawn.
Yeah. So
Crazies is like late 60s.
Yeah, right? That's right. I don't know, mid 70s, like early
maybe
70s.
like 71.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know.
Because Dawn is 78.
We'd have to look it up.
But yeah, the remake of The Crazies.
And recommend both just for like the separation of time, just seeing how like it was approached in early 70s versus like a modern take on it. It's worth watching both.
Of course,
for
one
sure,
and one is just like, people are. It's almost like, I think the original, it's akin to like, they just want to like be hippies and just kind of go crazy and whatnot. And the new one is like, they're like terror demons and they're just like wind up killing whatever. Like their impulse is gone, and but the whole deal is like, if you get it, you have a fever, you'll know it, and you'll start to see signs. And
that's
like
the people transitioning in that movie is the creepy factor when you like all of a sudden oh god, what's happening to this person now?
Yeah, and then like the army coming in and being like, we didn't know we were going to be doing this to civilians, but like we fine, then just leave us and like go. Okay, I didn't find anything, I'm leaving. You know, because and who is his wife in that? I'm trying to think.
Rhoda Mitchell.
That is, yeah, she's really good in that.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so my number 4 would be the Crazies. Just for that, I mean, again, in this case, it doesn't really necessarily matter if it's a virus or whatever thing. I'm looking specifically at how a movie deals with it moving throughout a population / community / us as humans. And I just think that there's some really good parts of like just putting it all together, showing the initial stages of a breakdown. So anyway, you're number 3.
My next one, I feel like, has to be on your list, or maybe you disregard it. I don't know. I have 28 Days Later.
Oh God, yeah, that was actually my number 3 slot too. So we'll just go from there.
Okay. I mean, we've talked about it a good bit, honestly, on some of our Arctober episodes, more in relation to what it did to the zombie genre. But again, this hits kind of both sides of it, where the desolation of the, like, seeing the city image is very similar to what you've seen in the last few weeks, where it's like, here's this extremely famous, like, huge, well-trafficked part of the world, and like showing us the Vatican or Disney World or whatever the day before, the day after, like, announcements were made or lockdowns were made, and just like, it's a ghost town. It's just so unsettling.
You know, somewhere in the hills and in Hollywood, there is somebody like, can we not get boots on the ground in these places to just get like stock footage to have? Because you know there's somebody that's like, this is the perfect time to go get free footage of these things to like have all my B-roll.
I had not even thought of that, but
like
seriously,
think about it. If you're in Orlando,
filmmakers around the world,
they should be like hazmat suiting up.
Some cool shit, guys. Yeah.
I mean, I want to see like the day after Disney or something like that. Just like even somebody making a documentary about this as a thing in our time. You got to be at, I mean, think about all the access to great B-roll you've got. I'm not saying you should go out there and do it. I'm not saying you should just throw caution to the wind. But if you're healthy and you take your precautions, wear a mask.
Dress like Jude Law.
Yeah.
In the end of Contagion.
Exactly.
Just mind your suit.
Yeah.
You know,
just
mind your suit.
You know, go and I mean, the guy, the movie that the Florida Project guy made, the first one he made was all on his iPhone, and it looked great.
Yeah.
Shoot it with your iPhone. I mean,
I think we're sitting here and we're like, dude, hey, shut the fuck up. We should go do this.
Yeah. Where should we go? We should.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. If you have one free access to anything, you got a drone and your iPhone. No one's there. What are you shooting? What are you shooting that like you would love to just, not that you want to see it all by yourself, but like, what are you got free access, no one's there. What are you shooting? What are you doing?
Well, you probably couldn't get there, but I mean, there's a just total lame, stupid part of me that's just like, well, I want to go shoot like Times Square and recreate Vanilla Sky with me.
Yeah.
Instead.
Do it.
But, yeah, okay, that's my answer. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah. That's so lame. I'll think on it.
I would do that, but I would do I don't know what prefecture it is. I think it's in Shinjuku, but it's the one that's always...
Yeah, immediately. I'm like, literally anywhere in Japan would be a better choice
like
than what I just said.
The one you always see that, like, there's just tons of people every day. Like, it's just they never leave. If that was clear and there was nothing there, I would just stand in the middle.
Excuse me. I want to do what I just said, but I want to do it in, like, downtown Tokyo. I want to, recreate Lost in Translation, but, like, truly isolated.
Yeah.
Completely by yourself. Yes.
That would be dope.
Not metaphorically isolated.
Or, like, walking the Golden Gate Bridge with no cars by myself. That shit would be dope.
That would be pretty
I got, like, a drone following me as I'm walking. Like, he pans out.
Normally, post-apocalyptic, you always see abandoned cars across any bridge.
It's just nobody's
stuff like that.
It's like nobody's there.
There's nobody there.
Yeah. You know, just take that walk across that bridge. Welcome to Oakland.
I like it. But anyway, okay, so we get all of that crazy, unsettling imagery.
With
then it
20
has
days later.
the extremely intense viral side of just like, if you get any of this
anywhere near you,
anywhere near any of your ocular cavity, your
wound, anything, if it can get into your body, you are done less than a heartbeat.
Yeah. Oh God, Naomi Harris, so good, and Cillian Murphy, who was about to be in A Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh really?
Don't know if we're ever going to see that movie now, because it's been postponed indefinitely. So,
but he made it, right?
Yeah, it's done.
Well, see, I saw
it was going to come out next
now. I saw a
this
trailer, And Krasinski was in the trailer before it all happened, like talking to a... Okay.
All
right. I'm like, okay.
It's just an excuse to get him in there.
Well, is he directing it again, too? Because he directed the first one. Yeah.
It would be really weird if he was like...
Take my vision and hand it off.
Yeah.
Somebody will shoot my wife for like 6 weeks. I'm going to go do Jack Ryan season 3 or something.
That would have been pretty fucked.
That would have been weird
Seriously.
as fuck. You're right.
Yeah, so... But anyways, Cillian Murphy was going to be that. He's great. He's great in this. Anyways, you get all of that, the crazy, like, actual, legit, scary, and somewhat grounded and believable. You buy the rage virus just because of how that movie opens. Mm-hmm. And it's so effective. And then you get to all the people on people shit, which again is my like kind of perversely favorite aspect of any of these type of movies. But you get
the best and the worst of it. I think that's why that movie stays, because you have Brendan Gleeson with a tactical thing like lights on. I'm trying to save people. Yeah, we gotta get out of here. But you see everything he's done to survive. But we gotta get out of here. Let's get to the countryside. Let's do this. And that transition. And then you see, the soldiers, this like, this thing that was built to protect and all that, breaking down in lieu of a government or society and the dangers of that. And like, you get it all in once. And I think people forget about that. But the last time we talked about it, I didn't mention it, but I think that is the key to why 28 Days Later stays fresh. Excuse me. When you're talking about this, because you get every side. You get, this is the best of us. Pooling our resources. Let's get together. Let's try and make something of this. Let's try and survive. Well, we got to move. All right, let's move. And then you get we didn't think this was going to be this big of a deal. There's no women here. Yeah, we got guns and we're kind of relatively safe, but like other things aren't working for us. So we got to do something about that. And you get that like that creeps in, and you're just like, what are you gonna do?
Making me want to rewatch it right now,
dude. Man. It is one of the best. That's why it's one of
again. Those guys were a match made in heaven. I kind of like. I mean, Garland has completely just like. Have you watched any of Devs yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, dude! There's a new episode tonight. That's what I'm watching as
what
soon as you leave. Devs. Mm-mm. It's on Hulu. It is Alex Garland's 8-episode limited series. Directed everything, wrote everything. Nick Offerman's in it.
Let's just take a second, kids. Just remember, Alex Garland wrote The Beach,
28 Days Later,
and Tesseract before he ever thought anything about writing the script for 28 Days Later. He writes 28 Days Later, and now that man is like writing and directing good shit. So if you're a kid out there and you think
he's one of those weird people that I grew up on in a weird way, and it's like, and now he's like a total auteur unto himself, and he's incredible. And you could argue just for sheer track record, granted they haven't made as many movies, but if you want to compare his first 3 movies to, he's only done 2 so far. I keep thinking of Devs as a movie in my head, but it is not. But if you want to look at the first 2 Garland movies versus the first 2 Danny Boyle movies, like you could have a really good conversation there. That's all I'm gonna say.
You kind of feel like
collaborations.
You feel like on the set of, and it will. If you're talking about it, it all gels here because this is, I think, the first meeting of the 2. No, it's The Beach is the first. I'm sorry, but this is the first one where, like, I guess maybe I feel like maybe on this one more than anyone, Garland's on set every day. He's trying to like do everything he can. I mean, why wouldn't you be on set every day at the beach? But I mean, you're not swinging for the fences with that. It's just it's a loose adaptation of your book.
Yeah.
You wrote 28 Days Later. You wrote the screenplay for that. Like, that's your baby. Do what you want. But
yeah, because he didn't do the adaptation of.
Yeah.
That's right. It's so odd because and then he did Sunshine as well with Boyle. But
I forgot about Sunshine.
It all starts because he adapts his book. But yeah, he did not actually get to do the screenplay.
Yeah.
Maybe better movie. I don't know. I mean, I still love The Beach. We don't have to get into it on this podcast. But, maybe Alex Garland making his adaptation of his own book now would be. But he's off in sci-fi land, baby, and he's not coming back.
Nope.
Everything is like super high concept, executed at a level that you're just like, dude, you have been waiting to do this like your entire life, man.
And like
so
he's one of those that's like, I didn't think they'd ever let me do this. They're letting me do this shit. I'm doing what I can before they realize they probably shouldn't let me do this shit. So I'm getting it while I can.
Again, watch Devs.
I'll check it out now. I've seen stuff for it on like.
It's one of those two where like I can't tell you anything about it.
Okay.
Even if I wanted to, I can't like describe it to you. I can give you the bare bones of the plot, but like you don't even need it. Just jump in, man.
Okay.
I'll
definitely check that out.
I mean, Better Call Saul is on right now, but those are the two best shows like currently on television in 2020. I'm just saying. And I've watched 2 episodes of Devs, but it's just a fact. Okay. We're not on the TV arc.
We'll get there.
Terribly sorry
one
for cutting
more.
into
One more
this.
for each
28
of us.
Days Later is amazing. It had to be on both of our lists. My number 2, is that what we're doing?
We're talking Pontypool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this one for the perspective.
Yes.
More than anything, which is we know that there's something amiss. There's something going on. This is Canada, right?
Right.
I don't even know what part of Canada, but we're just trapped in a radio station. Excuse me, with Mr. Stephen McHattie, who, by the way, I just rewatched History of Violence recently, and I was like, I totally forgot that's him as the bad man. And then I was convinced that the other guy in the opening was like, is that fucking Jason Clarke? I was like, is that Jason Clarke before like anybody knew who he was? And I'm looking at this guy. I was like, it's gotta be him. Gotta be him. Not him, dude. But it's his doppelganger. 100%. And I can't even remember the actor's name now. Anyways, back to Pontypool. Steve McHattie's amazing in it. He's this radio disc jockey, and we slowly are getting that like something's going on. We're not quite sure. It seems like kind of mass hysteria is eventually erupts. But this is one of those interesting ones because of the type of virus that it is and how it is transmitted, which is through speech and language, which is a fascinating subtext to all of this, which is how we communicate about these things. So just for sheer uniqueness and like, it's an inventive horror movie. It's got social commentary baked into it. And it's also just, it's good small scale indie filmmaking from what I don't think it was like a big,
no, it's not a huge big deal,
release or anything. And it's just super effective. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times now. It's one of those that I got too late where it's just, it kept showing up on lists where it was like best horror movies you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Check this one out. And I was like, well, there's a reason people talk about it all the time. Very unique, very interesting vibe, and genuinely like creepy in a way that you don't kind of fully see coming. Some of it is done strictly through audio and what you're hearing over the airwaves. Some of it is just like as you start to realize what this thing is exactly. Like,
you're realizing it's maybe
the
too late already.
implications of it are even. It's a thinking man's horror movie in as much as like the more you dive into the concept of what it's actually about, the creepier it actually is. And it's like, it seems like super high concept, but at the same time,
it's
like,
really simplistic.
I could totally see something like this happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pontypool, that's my number 2. Your number 2.
Maybe not the best version. We've talked about it a little bit, but I will, again, thanks for covering the mouth with the thank you.
Gotta survive.
Yeah. Live to fight another day. Because, and you gotta live to fight another day because, you know, Dr. Robert Neville will be at the pier daily. He can help you. He can help survivors. He's there. And that's what you gotta worry about.
Nice segue.
I
figured it was gonna be on here.
Yeah.
The only reason it's not on mine, really.
Well, again, it's 3 different.
And it's also not, I mean, at least the I Am Legend film adaptation is not, and doesn't really have much to do with the Outbreak. Do any of the tellings? I mean, I'm trying to think of Omega Man. How do you get anything?
You get a little bit of it. Well, you get a little bit of like them working, like knowing that something was going on and him working on it. And the whole explanation is like he had a cure and the helicopter crashed because the guy that was flying it got sick as they were going down. And that's what saved him. So that's why he's by himself. And you get little bits of like backstory of what the world was like and all that. But cutting in the opening of like, we've done it. We've cured cancer. This is great. To boom. Here's so many days after the initial outbreak. And Earth is taking back what we built. And then you get him by himself, but then you flash beforehand with like the fear and the intensity of the shit it went airborne. We got to get off the island, Manhattan. You got to go. Well, I thought you said it wouldn't do this. We thought so, but it is. You got to get out of here. And just cutting back and forth between what life is now for this man and what it was, and the intensity of like, that is as close to ground zero as we get before you get to like World War Z, which is probably a good one in the case of like global powers and what people do to condition for some type of event, but completely unrealistic with the whole zombies throwing themselves everywhere. I don't really go for that. I go for the more like, Israel's winning. Why are they winning? I don't know. Let's get somebody on the ground over there to figure out what's going on. How are we working this thing? How's the UN?
That's a movie that I felt was like noted to death.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly we're still getting a second one at some point, but who knows? But I remember enjoying it more when it was just like boots on the ground with Pitt. And the smaller it got, like, as the movie went on.
Yeah.
But the more big scale, like, we got to have spectacle. We got to have something people haven't seen before with the zombies. Again, yeah, I'm totally right there with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. You got to, like, you got to up the ante. After 28 days later, where are you going to take it?
Yeah.
So I get it. But, yeah. There's good aspects to that one. And I've never watched the unrated cut. I didn't know if it was one of those that was maybe like salvaged in the editing somehow.
So. I honestly couldn't tell you.
I would still be down for 2 if you don't. I remember at one point like Fincher was supposed to come in and direct it, and I was like, do that.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. And just on the scale of everything, just how again, just going back to I Am Legend real quick, just the other aspect of it of like, if this was you, and I think that's the one thing that like draws more than anything. Everybody talks about it's like, it's not so much like, it's like a fear fantasy you get to live of like, well, would I do this? Would I do that? So it's like, yeah, the thing in the night that's left is a thing, but at the same time, if you took out the paranoia and like the, oh my God, do you have this illness of it comes at night? I would still watch that movie just to see like how this family has gone from all of the luxuries we have and that we take for granted, not to mention like human contact to begin with, but cutting that down to 3 people in a cabin in the woods trying to survive because you don't know what else is out there. It's airborne or whatever it is. That still to me is the interesting part of it all. And that's where I go with a lot of these post-apocalyptic, because I typed in virus movies, I typed in viral outbreaks, and I got like, oh, Resident Evil Extinction, Resident Evil Afterlife. I'm like, I get it, it's zombie stuff, and it is what it is.
Wreck and Quarantine, etc.
The first Quarantine with the girl from Dexter, I don't think was that bad. I think I saw that in theaters. I think I enjoyed
Wreck,
that.
Though, like,
yeah,
don't bother with it.
Yeah. There's a couple of those, right? There's like 2 or 3 of those. Wreck and Wreck 2. I think
Wreck is up to like 4.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I stopped after 2. I don't know if I've seen the 3rd one. And of course, we didn't mention like Outbreak.
Oh, God, yeah.
Which is a total cable movie that's like, it's one of those weird ones that like, I couldn't really tell you any scene in it beyond the movie theater scene where you see it start spreading between people. And like, I have visions of Hoffman and Cuba in my head, but
yeah.
I haven't seen it in forever, even though I know I've seen that movie like
I don't think
like 5 or 6 times.
I just don't know if it holds up because I feel like 3 years after it came out, they're making jokes about it on Friends, and so I don't know if it holds up in light of probably at the time it was probably really
like
good.
The crazy general who wants to like make it a bioweapon or like that's a whole angle to it too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So not Outbreak.
No.
But you and I did agree Contagion is like hands down the number one best. It's the most well acted. It's the most grounded. It's the most realistic. It's a mosaic in the way that some of the best Soderbergh movies are, where we've got all these different little tiny, very 70s-ish almost, where you would have like, okay, here's a big like disaster event going on or whatever, but we have all these tiny stories within it.
Exactly.
But showing all the aspects of it from like just a, quote unquote boots on the ground normal suburban dad like Damon just dealing with his daughter and like his wife who's just passed away, and then you've got your characters at the CDC as well. You've got your crazy like journalist guy played by Jude Law. You've got you got all these different aspects of it. We see a little bit. There's not as much on the like political spectrum and like government response, but outside of like the CDC stuff. But we still get to see
because doesn't he wind up getting arrested because like he's like spreading paranoia and like he's lying to people about something to take to try and cure himself.
Yes,
because I remember them tailing him and like arresting him when he goes to meet somebody in an open park.
I need to rewatch it because it's been a bit, but again, off of the 2 viewings I've had, I can just flat out tell you, like, it's the best viral outbreak.
Every time anything like this has ever come up since that movie came out, Mom has been the one that's like, it's gonna happen, I'm like, stop, and she's like, no, it's going to. That's my fear. She's like, I'm afraid of a bug. There's gonna be some bug because we've been giving everybody.
That one. I will say she's brought up Contagion on multiple. Like, I think that's a movie she rewatches. Probably on a regular basis,
because she always says it's like, well, we gave everybody antibiotics, we didn't fight it enough, all this and that. And I'm over here like, well, great, I'm on amoxicillin right now. That makes me feel like that's not gonna do shit for this whatever with my tooth that had to come out or whatever, all that. But I'm gonna take it because they say to take it till it's done. So
do what you gotta do.
We'll move it on from this to the we're gonna go to the TV arc next.
Yeah. So,
but we will say, wash your hands, cover your mouth, stay out of public places if you can. Be kind to one another, and we'll get through this. And if you are hearing this,
take it seriously, but don't lose your cool.
I mean, I've been wearing gloves at work the last couple of days.
I work in the food service industry. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before. I manage a restaurant.
No, I don't think you have.
So,
well, now you sound super mysterious. I'll
be honest. This was the first day where I noticed. I was like, I mean, it's a hot day. So, a particular restaurant, I won't say where, that I work, sometimes hot days are not as good for us, okay? Mm-hmm. Because of what we serve, all right?
Hot jambalaya.
Yes, I work at King's Cajun Cafe down here in Charleston, South Carolina. That might actually be a place.
Wait, you told me you worked at Bridges.
Bridges?
Friday at 7. Come on, man. Sorry.
The jambalaya, but no pepper. This is like the third time
we've talked about that
fucking scene. Yes, it drives me nuts, dude. Who the hell orders jambalaya with no pepper? As I was saying, this is the first day I noticed, though, at my store that it's just like there's not as many people coming in. Like, clearly, there's a lot of people who are freaked out.
Well, that's my question. Was like, are people going to?
But I want to be
rush the stores and take their own shit? Are they gonna be like Uber Eats? Let's do this.
Apparently, Uber's like shutting it down.
Yeah. Well, legally they have to, because you can't be the company that's taking this virus to everyone's doorstep every day and expect your.
Amazon's still running.
Amazon's still good. You know who I feel really bad for? Even though it's shitty fucking beer, I feel bad for Corona. That brand, how are you going to recover from this?
I mean, I'm never going to stop drinking Corona. I am drinking a Sierra Nevada right now.
Yeah.
But that's what I like to keep in my home. But
that's what you like
I'll be goddamned if I'm not going to go to a Mexican restaurant and get a Corona with lime. Why would I? Why?
What if that's the secret? What if that's the cure? Like, what if we're not thinking of it?
Perhaps.
And okay. I love that people like Corona, COVID-19, all these different names for it. Can we just call it and this is my one little soapbox caveat I want to get on. I wish people cared about this like they are now, about things that like have come in the past that have been more detrimental, that we could have maybe stopped. Like, maybe if Reagan hadn't laughed at people with AIDS in the 80s, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, just put a little bit more care and effort into like things that can actually, that we could have stopped a long time ago. Because what if this is just something that like it lives with us now? You know? Like, no, I'm saying like it just lives with it. It's just there.
Yeah.
And you can't, it's like, it's just the same as, okay, well, coronavirus now has like spread so much to where it's just like the common cold or flu. But if you actually get it, if you're a baby or if you're an older person, you are at 10 times more risk of you dying a terrible death. And it's just there. We can't get rid of it. It's not, I mean, I saw a terrible meme that one of the ladies who used to work in marketing posted about like, hey, anti-vaxxers, this is your time to shine. Like, I fear for those people. I don't want anybody to get sick or get hurt. So that's why we say, like, wash your hands, be nice to each other, keep it cool. It's not that bad yet. But just watch all these movies and know how bad it can get. And be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was lovely. I think you summed it up quite well.
You said it all.
Great way to end the segment.
Yeah.
This so rarely happens. We have like a clean transition, and I'm going to totally ruin it by, pointing out how great it was.
Just play the Forrest Gump thing. You said it all, man.
You said it all.
You said it all. Or you just pull.
That's all that I have to say about Vietnam.
Yeah. That's all that I have to say about
Jenny.
COVID-19. You see Tom Hanks has that shit, man?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Why do we have to... And we ruined it.
More importantly, did you see Chet's post about it?
No.
Oh, my God. Pull up Twitter.
Chet's post. Who am I looking at? Chet Hanks?
Yeah, Chet Hanks, man. You don't follow Chet Hanks? What are you doing?
I follow...
I do not follow Chet Hanks, for the record. It was just somebody fucking posted an article.
Chet Hanks?
It'll have to be like that. Chet Hanks talking about his parents. It's got to be up there. He's shirtless. He has a lot of tattoos.
This guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, my... Okay.
You got the video? Get the video.
Oh, God. Oh, is this a HuffPost article?
Somebody's got to have the video. Just find it.
This guy, he...
looks exactly like his dad? Is that what you were going to say? Because he totally does.
What's up, everyone?
This?
Yeah, it's true. My parents got coronavirus. Crazy. They're both down in Australia right now because my dad was shooting a movie down there. But I just got off the phone with them. They both are fine. They're not even that sick. They're not worried about it. They're not tripping, but they're going through the necessary health precautions, obviously. But I don't think it's anything to be too worried about. I appreciate everyone's concern and the well wishes, but I think it's all going to be all right. But I appreciate it, and just everybody stay safe out there. Much love. What's up, everyone?
Wow.
So my parents got coronavirus.
That
crazy, man. Like
that
is their project.
That's Colin's brother?
Yep.
Bless his heart, man.
He's what some would call the runt of the litter. You know he has a rap career and all. You're aware of Chet Hanks, right?
No. I have no idea that.
Man.
No. He doesn't look a thing like Tom Hanks to me at all.
He is the like black sheep. Again, he's like, it doesn't make sense. He's a rapper. He like, I think, hates his, privileged life or whatever. I don't know what his deal is.
He seems like he should be on that Real Bros of Simi Valley show you're telling me about. Like,
but he's one of the people who watches it and like doesn't get that it's
about him?
Satire.
Yeah.
Who thinks that it's a documentary.
Oh, okay.
That's the vibe I get from him. Posted about his parents' coronavirus.
Do you think that
what was that, man? I guess people were concerned he wanted to let them know, but I was just like, you couldn't throw on like a nice shirt, dude, or like bring a. I don't know. It was very casual. Very casual. Like he rolled out of bed and was like, "So
gotta do this."
Parents got coronavirus,
but they're
crazy,
good.
But they're good. Don't worry, America.
Hey, shout out
Hanks is in the pocket. He's okay.
Shout out to Colin. And if you're looking for it, handkerchiefs. Get yourself one. You need one. Keep that shit to yourself. Keep your germs to yourself. Handkerchiefs.
Yeah. But yeah, Hanks revealed on Instagram that he and the wife had coronavirus. Crazy times. And that's when it got real for a lot of people. And they were like, oh my God, if Hanks can get it, what's the world coming to?
Yeah. So, well, see, like, if I don't have podcasts on, I have 107.5 on, so it's always sports stuff. And when they canceled sports and people are like, what are we going to talk about? I was like, well, yeah, what the fuck are you guys going to talk about? Like, I'm tuning in every day. I want to hear what you guys got to say about other stuff. I'm hoping I can get in and be like, you guys heard my podcast about this subject? I'm waiting for them to find, like, the right niche when I can be like, hey. Niche,
close.
Nietzsche, whatever you want to call it. Be like, hey, guys, I actually have a whole podcast on this one thing. ARKofE.com. Check it out. I'm waiting. Hopefully, I'm going to get in with no sports for the next 2 weeks.
There's a podcast right there.
I wonder what Dad is going to do with no sports for 2 weeks, man.
I'm very concerned.
I said it off mic. I bet Dad, with no sports, he's got like a thought in the back of his head, and he just sits down and applies himself and he writes like the most badass coming of age father and son script anyone's ever read, and just never tells anybody about it. Finally, like just 3 years later,
quietly puts it away in a desk drawer.
Yeah.
Never to be seen again.
Yeah, and then finally, like, because sports comes back, right? And then finally, we're like, oh yeah, he finally like listens to this episode 6 months later, and is like,
how do they know?
Yeah,
yeah.
And then like one night, just decides to burn it in the backyard, so no one will ever know how great it was.
It's like the scene in True Detective season 3 when he comes home from killing that guy.
Yeah, but it's that screenplay.
Yeah,
and he gives us
the shot of him over the barrel.
Yeah,
and he decides to burn his clothes too for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. And he gives us the Michael Clark Duncan, well, you wouldn't appreciate it. From like the Green Mile. Like, no one would appreciate it. No one would get it. Okay. But it's like everything he's ever wanted to say to us and everything we've ever wanted Dad to like be for us as an emotional human like support thing in our life. And he just writes it and just doesn't tell us about it.
And burns it one day.
Okay. 3 years later. That's the great. That's where my screenplay goes.
That's your okay.
Yeah, that's my movie I'm gonna make.
Cool. Musical break.
Yeah, but I was gonna tell you earlier, you gotta play "Zero" by Chris Brown. 0 0 0 0 0 0.
I refuse to play.
I know you won't
by Chris Brown on this podcast.
I know.
You can play him on your own podcast.
I don't have one.
I might even put that on this network, but I'm not I'm not taking the time to go pay for any of that man's music to then put it at my show.
This is the only song I can think of with 0 in the title. Okay, give me a break.
I'm sure we can find a lot more.
But he just says 0 3 times. That's the only reason I was thinking.
Do, because you're gonna burn through your list when we get to your top 20. Like, we're not gonna play 20 songs at the end of this episode.
Oh no, God no.
So Gavin's gonna give me a couple. Maybe you can give me a choice track from your list, maybe a preview, and that can take us into the break. How about that?
Okay, yeah, sure, I could do that. But are we not doing the whole 3 songs or less deal this time? But it's like my turn to like turn you on to something.
We can also do that.
All right. Okay. Well, then I got one. We'll just do that then.
All right. Well, this is part 1, possibly the last part of 3 songs or less. New segment happened 2 episodes ago on the feed. Go check it out.
2 episodes ago on the feed.
Talked about tennis. I sold Gavin in 2 songs or less.
Okay. All right. You ready?
I sold you in 2, not or less, because it took 2. The segment is called 3 songs or less. I'm still getting used to this. Okay.
How you feeling about Split Ends right now, Noah? You know the song?
I'm not sold.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay. I mean, I got 2 more I can play, but we can go on TV ARK and play one going into these. I mean, this isn't some brand new thing I found. I'm trying to sell you on a New Zealand classic from the new wave era.
Okay.
Probably the first like successful band from New Zealand ever. Just FYI.
Okay.
Okay.
Well.
You want another one? You
no, I think we'll use it as the break, and maybe you can get there by the end of the
Hopefully
episode.
So.
By the time you reveal your top 20.
Yeah, sure.
I think that'll work.
Let's do that.
Okay, so we're aboard the TV ARK now?
Yeah, let's talk about some TV, Noah.
Okay. The Outsider ended this past weekend.
Oh, boy, did it end.
It sounds like you were over the moon about it. How did you feel? What'd you think?
Fucking crazy. I mean, talk about...
Please do talk about
this. Okay, this episode of The Outsider is like the last 5 minutes of The Mist.
In what way?
Everyone that I've come to know and love that I like in this show is just dropping like flies like they're nothing. Okay. It's crazy. Another crazy, not necessarily Outbreak movie, but like at the end of it all, hey, the government comes and takes care of everything.
Here's my struggle.
What's your struggle?
You said something very key. Have come to care about. Let's take a step back and look at who we have rolling into this final conflict.
Mm-hmm.
We have Claude.
Yes.
Patty Considine. Never developed much of an attachment to him, to be completely honest. Right. Beyond, this is the next guy this is going to happen to.
Mm-hmm.
These are the circumstances. Okay. Felt even weirder when they introduced his brother into the proceedings in episode like 7 or 8, somewhere in there.
7, yeah.
And I was like, okay, so now we're supposed to like kind of invest in them and their relationship as brothers, which I never quite did. You got Bill Camp, the lawyer, who's late to the party.
Yeah.
But I love Bill Camp.
Me too.
So just on that level, I have an attachment.
Don't
really understand what the fuck he was ever doing in this scenario. Like, why they let him anywhere near what they knew was going to be a firefight, potentially, or at the very least, a conflict with, like, an evil creature of some sort. I don't know why the lawyer was part of any of this, to be completely honest. I understand that, like, they drove into the scenario after the fact.
Yeah.
They were gonna stay there. That wasn't the plan to bring him out there. But I was also kind of just like, I don't know, maybe Bill Camp should have been still back in the town doing a little more with Terry's wife and those proceedings, because guess who else I felt like kind of faded to the background back half of the season?
Terry's wife. Yeah.
Mrs. Maitland. Her first name escapes me. It's Ralph's wife as well. Mare Winningham, who I thought was one of the standouts of the entire... I mean, everybody... That's the one thing that never dwindled. Everybody's great in this show. The stuff that they're given to do, I don't know, man. And at the end of the day, I don't know if I needed 8 episodes or 10 episodes of them doing it. I think I needed 8. I think I needed a little more concentrated narrative, streamline some of this stuff, and I feel like I would feel a little more positive or like satisfactory with the season as a whole. As it stands, I liked a lot of the finale, but I did feel like structurally it was very odd, very lopsided.
Yeah.
Just the amount of time we spent with that conflict up top, like, I enjoy a cool action set piece and all of that, but, like, that's not what I thought this was all building towards. I thought what it was building towards was the conflict with El Cuco and, like, the showdown. And we get that, but I felt like it's kind of truncated at the expense of this huge action set piece at the top of the episode, which, again, is cool and effective and, you know, had me kind of on the edge of my seat, even though, again, I'm not, like, super invested in every single... Like, I felt something for Andy in as much as, like, I liked the relationship that he and Holly had, but I also felt like that got set up pretty well, but never got to a totally satisfying, like, payoff, so I didn't necessarily feel the tragedy of it in the way I feel like they wanted you to. You know? Anyways, these are all quibbles. What did work for me, ultimately, was the rounding out of what you did get with Mrs. Maitland, and the whole, like, no, was he mean to you, Mommy? No, he wasn't mean to me, because we've seen how she's been treated in the community, and it's like, hopefully we can turn a leaf on this, and, like, they can still exist in this place, and, you know, things will get better for them, etc. So hit some of the emotional beats of that. But then we get to the ultimate end, and by the end, I mean the post-credit scene. How did you feel about the post-credits? And what, Gavin, Are you here?
I'm just reading the difference in what happens with the book compared to the miniseries and what they may have had to add in or take out. What are you talking about? I didn't see what's the end credit sequence? I watched. Did I miss something special?
I can't tell if you're
you're
fucking with
I'm
me.
not even fucking with you, dude. What did I miss in the end credits? Because I watched the end and it was like, okay, and they're like, that's pretty much it's.
She and Ralph have the exchange. She's like, takes an outsider, no an outsider.
Yeah.
They go their separate ways, right?
Right.
Okay. So the post-credit scene is Holly in the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
She has a vision of Jack.
Yeah.
And she checks her neck.
That's right.
She had anything on her neck.
Right.
But then the next shot is her sitting on her bed, and she's working on something or whatever, and the song playing in the background is the song that Ralph told her about, like, this was playing with when my mom passed away or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's playing, and we see on the outside of her forearm that she has a giant scratch. It's the very last shot. And then we go back into credits, and then they did an after the episode wrap up of the season, etc., etc. So the story ends with just them kind of like, hey, there might be some crazier shit out there. Ralph's perspective is opened up.
He finally gets it. Like, he finally, like, I mean, obviously when he sees the
and
video.
that really worked for me. Him saying to her, like, what else do you think is out there? Like,
yeah.
I'm curious now, essentially, and I'm open to this stuff. And she's like, who knows? And it's like, all right, great way to end it. I could see this coming back for season 2 where they just investigate weird shit together in their spare time. Maybe he's not a cop anymore. I don't know. Totally great setup. And then you
spoil it with
this
like,
fucking
oh yeah,
post-credit scene, and you're like, oh, Holly's been scratched and takes an outsider to know an outsider. Maybe the cuckoo's not gone. And I'm just like, what? I didn't need that.
Yeah.
I didn't need it. I didn't want it. And you seem like it kind of faded from memory. It feels so much like it's like the end of fucking I Still Know What You Did Last Summer or something. Mm-hmm. It has that vibe to it where it's like, I have seen this ending 100 times. Mm-hmm. The fake out, hey, we were acting like we were going to get you here. We're going to have a jump scare, which the series never was about jump scares. Except for the one that literally came out of nowhere and was very effective because it was a subverted jump scare.
Which
it's the scene with Jack and his mom.
Oh,
where
yeah.
She's talking very intensely, but all of a sudden she, like, just jumps on top of him. And you're like, I did not fucking, like, whoa, where did that come from? That'll make you, like, sit straight up. The show was never, like, hitting those notes. And then all of a sudden, it really felt to me like this is, like, how you would end a shitty sequel to, like, a lesser than horror movie in the early 2000s. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It just really, like...
Honestly, dude, I remember watching that. I didn't know I was supposed to get that she had a cut.
It's very pronounced to the point where you're like, girl, do you not realize that you got a giant...
Yeah.
Like, you got a scratch there. Like, you need to check yourself out. It's very obvious. They want you to see it. And I'm just like, guys, like... Either make this part of the narrative, put it before the credits, and have the balls to be like, this is how we're ending the show. And I probably still would have talked just as much shit about it.
Yeah.
But the fact that it had what I thought was a pretty elegant ending and got it kind of more back to the tone of where I wanted it to be, which is basically like, this thing started out and it was like, dude, this is everything we love about true crime all rolled into one, and then it also has this supernatural tinge to it. And, like, it's exciting. We still don't know quite what it is. Holy shit, they killed off Bateman. Like, where is this show going? And it had a lot of great energy. And then, step by step, the more we revealed what it is, gave it a name, gave it motivation, and also very, very vaguely outlined what the hell it can actually do. The stuff with, like, now Claw, it has, like, a telepathic link with Claude, and anything that he knows, it knows. Like, and they have to keep information secret from her. I was like, if that was a thing, you guys did not, like...
No.
I didn't get that until you threw it on me right now.
I mean, I definitely get it with someone like Jack. They kind of explained that already, but, like,
Jack
if it's...
stuff was great. Like,
yeah, that works.
Honestly...
Because
one
you
of
never
the strongest elements of the season, way more so than the ultimate showdown you get with Kuko in its like Paddy Considine form and everything.
Yeah.
What he did to Jack and Jack struggling with that was, in retrospect, kind of my favorite horror element, of this, that gave me any sort of like genuine, like, it got inside my head in as much as like, think about the amount of pain that this thing would have to be physically causing you for you to essentially be like, I will be your puppet, dude. Like, chill the hell out. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Just don't make me feel that. Like, I could wrap my brain around that.
Exactly.
And I thought it was a really cool concept. And we've seen, again, like, people that are, like, controlled or possessed or, like, the thrall. But the way it was, like, visualized and just the way he navigated that performance, the shootout at the end, he's the highlight of it for me. Mm-hmm. The crazy abandon with which he's just like shouting at them. And then you also see where he's like, why'd you have to go for the car? Like, I don't want to shoot you. Like, he's warring with himself.
As he's getting shit-faced.
It's,
as like the drinking
stuff.
is like kind of like helping him maybe become, in a weird way, sober to what he's doing, because it's like that is so in his brain. That's like, if I can get drunk, I can maybe have a moment of clarity, and maybe I'll just eat this bullet and not like have enough courage to do that myself and not kill these people that I would probably be with if I wasn't in this situation.
Yeah. So again, I liked a lot of things about it. As a whole, again, I feel like if we trim out 2 episodes here, and again, that's at this weird war of like, well, how much time can you take for the character stuff then? And I will just simply point out, True Detective Season 1?
Yeah.
The amount of it, like, the amount of time that is just monologue and just, hey, want to go inside Russ Cole's brain for, like, a 15-minute stretch of this episode. And the way that, like, those hour-long episodes of True Detective would sometimes feel like they lasted 3 hours because you were just like entranced by it, and it's all through pacing and tone and everything. And I was like, trim your episode count. You can still take your time with a lot of this stuff, and you can maybe be a little more abstract with what the outsider is. Maybe take a little more time to reveal it. Maybe not keep us ahead of the characters. Like, I didn't dislike it. I thought from a pure production standpoint and performances, like, it's totally deserving of the HBO mantle and being on the network and all of that stuff. But I was a little let down at the end of the day. That's pretty much how I felt about The Outsider.
It's like I said, it's like the end of the mist. Everybody that like is there is getting dropped, because I liked one of my better characters that I liked, that I was like, I want to see what this guy does. Let's see where he goes. Like I didn't go with him because, before we used to go on raids in Iraq, I'd get copper taste in my mouth.
Jeremy Bobb.
And
dude,
I didn't want to go, so I didn't go. And then he goes, and the first one to die.
He's fucking great.
Popped off. Like,
did you ever watch The Nick?
No.
You need to watch The Nick. I got the first season. I can lend you if you want to take it. It's Soderbergh.
Okay.
Clive Owen.
I feel like I've seen that.
You may have seen bits and pieces.
Probably.
I'll give you the first season. Anyways, Jeremy Bobb, that's where I first saw him. And then he is also on... Did you watch Russian Doll with Natasha Lyonne from last year?
I watched like the first 2 episodes.
He's also in that. You would have seen him in those 2 episodes. But he's one of those dudes.
He's just there.
Pops up all the time. But yeah, no, I really loved it. And I felt like the scenes with him, for instance, like maybe you didn't have time for that if you were cut down to 8 episodes. And those were some of my favorite moments. The kind of just like non sequitur stories that just added to the mood and the vibe of everything. He arguably, of the supporting, like, banded together loose ragtag group of people we had at the end, he was one of the ones I was more invested in on a base level of like, I like this guy. I like the way he comports himself and like the way he interacts with everything. So when he got taken out at the end of 9, I definitely was like, oh shit, man. But I got to be honest with you, once that was out of the way, I was kind of like, okay, well, they're not going to kill Ralph. They're not going to kill Holly. They'll probably kill Andy because that'll fuck Holly up. Bill Camp, maybe he's got to come back for some lawyer stuff, so maybe he sits this one out. I don't know. And I was like, and Paddy Considine, 50-50. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't come out of this thing.
Then
The brother, I was like, the brother, definitely fucking dead.
Well, you already knew from the
100%.
trailer that he was going to die. You saw it on his face. You could see that moment in the trailer. You knew it was coming. Yeah. The other cop with him too. I was just like, I enjoyed like that.
Oh, Miguel Sandoval.
Yeah, he was.
No, he was great too.
I was genuinely worried about
his interactions with Ralph of just kind of like, dude, you just need to like wrap your head around this shit. Like, she's not being that unreasonable. Like, that was all good stuff. Again, they give me enough surface level stuff with all those characters to like be invested to a certain extent, but I also wasn't like. Again, what I was excited to see in that episode was not like who of this band is going to live or die facing this thing. What I wanted to see was the conflict with El Cuco and specifically Holly and Ralph, which again it eventually gets to, and I know it feels like somehow it's gotta like thin out the herd to let all of this happen. Again, you're moving off the novel or whatever, but I maybe would like a construction where they're all out, like the peripheral guys are outside dealing with Jack, who has them pinned down, and Holly and Ralph go into the cave trying to shut down El Cuco to take out Jack, because it's like, if we can kill him, the spell will be broken, essentially.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Maybe Jack can walk away from this. Maybe he does walk away from this.
Yeah, it becomes a battle for Jack's soul, so
one
to speak.
One of the more satisfying
I could see
elements
that.
of the whole show. I'm not trying to, like, Monday morning quarterback it, but...
No, that makes complete sense, though. I could see that working. So, I agree with that.
Anyways. But yeah, I mean, we had a fun time watching it and talking about it for the last couple weeks. I'm not hating on it. Westworld, right back on Sunday. So Sunday nights on HBO are not slowing down anytime soon.
I gotta finish season 1 and 2, man.
1 and 2?
Like, I got like numbers. Listen, I was burning through. I was like, I'm on number 6 of season 1.
Have you had season 1 spoiled for you?
No, not yet.
Here's what I will say: just finish season 1, which you can conceivably do very easily, and then just go watch a recap for season 2. And then just jump in with 3.
Okay.
And you don't have to tell anybody.
That's what people
can pretend like you watched it, but you don't need to sit through all of season 2.
Okay.
It'll only make you angry at the show and consider whether you even want to come back for season 3.
Well, see, that's the thing. Knowing that 3 is on the table, and
really,
I see
really tested my fucking patience.
Well, see, that's the thing. Now, I mean, everybody says that. Now I want to. It's like no one ever told me, I'm going to skip season 3 of Game of Thrones. So I watched all of Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones ended.
And then they're like, hey, by the way, just pretend like that last season
didn't. So
happen.
now I'm like, okay, if I don't watch them all, what am I going to do? But I was in the middle of episode 6 of that when you were like, yo, 000. And I was like, oh, I saw ads for that. What's that about, brother? It's this. And I was like, nah, never mind. We're stopping everything now. Let's go do this.
I even waited a couple days to text you because I was just like...
Thank God you did. I would have...
Because I wanted to see if you were going to come to it on your own and like message me about it. Because I knew we hadn't said anything to each other. And I was just like, okay. It's got Michael Mann vibes. It's about the international cocaine trade. And Gavin's like, yeah. And,
it's got Mandy in it.
I was like, yeah, Andrew Riceborough is one of the leads. Mogwai does the fucking score. And I think the kicker was Gabriel Byrne.
Gabriel Byrne, dude.
The return of Gabriel Byrne. Who, spoiler alert, I'll go ahead and say this, whatever. They do the old Bateman switch, but they do
Bateman switch. We're gonna call that a thing from now on.
I totally stole it from. It doesn't
matter.
Watch. I think probably.
Who cares? The old Bateman switch. We're going with it.
Or maybe Vanity Fair's podcast. I don't know. I'm not the first one to think of it. The Bateman switch. Whatever. We should really come up with who's the first one to ever do that. Where it was, because never mind. I literally almost spoiled something we were just talking about. Sorry.
Okay.
Shut up. Okay. 000. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Big international production about the international cocaine trade. We have 3 main focuses. We have the Linwood family. Andrew Riceborough and Dane DeHaan are the
brokers of the deal.
Yes.
They are responsible for transportation.
They are the children of one Mr. Gabriel Byrne, who owns this giant international shipping company. And when some shit goes south in the first episode, the kids got to step up and see the load through. Okay?
Right.
We got the buyers. Okay? That would be the Italians, correct? So we start with Don Mino. Is Don Stefano. Or he's not Don.
Yeah, it's Don Stefano.
Is he a Don? He's not a Don.
Don is the top. They kept calling him Don Stefano the entire time. Okay. Yeah, like in the little opening.
We have Don Mino, who's this old guy. He's been in the game for a while. He's the tippity top, if you will, the Corleone of this situation. And he's blind. He's been living in hiding. And he's basically come out of hiding to make one big last gesture to all of the families in Italy to like, hey, buy this shit ton of cocaine, really good price, and we're going to get everybody back in business. Everybody's going to get a taste. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Little does he know there are people gunning for his spot, essentially. It's what always happens when you're on top. Somebody's gunning. He doesn't know that it's his own grandson.
Right.
I'm basically spoiling most of the first episode. I'm trying to get people on board because I feel like nobody's talking about this show. So, you got double crosses. You got stuff going on. And then, what's going on down in Mexico?
Well, you've got a ragtag group of comanderos, federales, whatever you want to call them, that are tracking.
You have a bunch of guys who are army, who basically become their own private army.
Yeah, dude, that's like been my favorite thing to watch. Is their transition from like.
It's probably my favorite. It's like, and it's sad to say that I do. You haven't finished it yet. You have a couple more to go. We'll talk about this more in depth. Yes. But it is one of those shows where you want to be kind of excited for anywhere you point the camera, any storyline that you're dipping into.
I mean, I'm excited for all three, but that's definitely my favorite one to watch.
To the point where it almost overwhelms it for me. A show that very different but comes to mind is Too Old to Die Young. Mm-hmm. Not because of the again, this is like you can wrap your head around this. This is basically an international crime thriller like. You know, there's like 20 or 30 of them that get released every year, but this is essentially an 8-hour version of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't like. Never mind. I'm struggling with how much I want to like say because you haven't completed it yet. But.
Okay, well, I promise you, next time we're here, we can use this as a jumping off point. You need to be watching 000.
I think it is worth advocating for. It is definitely above your average international crime thriller, and it's also interesting in as much as like it's centered around the cocaine trade. I'll spoil this for you because you got 2 episodes left, and maybe you can back me up on this because there's another set of eyes on it. I don't think you ever see any drugs or any cocaine.
You don't see any cocaine used
being done in the series,
that's
which
the
I think
beauty
is
of
an
it.
interesting approach of just like we're not even focusing on the users or any of this. We're just we're trying to show you the scope of like
what
all aspects of society that are kind of tied into this one product and how it like travels the world. Mm-hmm. Very interesting stuff. Again, you could do a lot worse right now. I highly recommend it. We'll talk more in depth after Gavin has finished it because I will say it's got a hell of a finale.
Okay.
A hell of a finale.
And it's a one and done, right? Like a mini series. We're not going to get like a season 2.
Without spoiling too much, I think it simultaneously ends on a perfect note to just, it's good. I got what I needed out of it. I also think it ends on a perfect note of like, I want to see more of this right now. It's in a perfect spot either way. If it exists in isolation of this one season forevermore, I think people will enjoy catching up to it. If it's one of those things that is going to go on for a couple more seasons, I think it can sustain itself with its storytelling style. So, So we both wanted to shout that one out. 000. You watching anything else? I'm watching Real Bros of Simi Valley, which is fantastic. They're about midway through their season. That's over on Facebook Watch. Probably the best comedy airing right now, in my personal opinion.
I started watching Kidding,
the Jim Carrey show, which I have yet to get to, but I want to.
Super, just it's so
Michelle Gondry, you can't stand it? What?
It's just so like not I don't want to say like out there, but just where it goes.
My outsider opinion of Kidding is like I would never expect you to even pick up that show, except for the Jim Carrey of it all, because I feel like it's the kind of shit you give me about Wes Anderson, where you're just like, it's just That's its thing, and okay.
No, I
you
mean,
can't see the face I'm doing, people, but
yeah, no,
it's a very dismissive. Nah, it's that kind of attitude. That's the attitude I would expect you to come to that show with, but you didn't.
I fucking love it, dude. It's so. I mean, just the more I'm finding out as I'm watching, like, just it's super fucked. It's just so. It's so bad,
great.
but it's so good.
Okay,
I mean,
great selling point.
I can't.
Way to articulate your opinion. Let's move
Langella,
along.
dude. Frank Langella as his father.
Holy shit! You know what we did?
What?
We moved all the way over to the TV arc, and you know what I forgot about?
What?
I got some mini reviews.
Yeah. Well, I thought we were gonna do TV arc, then roll into mini reviews, and then I give you my list at the end.
That works.
Yeah. So
keep trying to sell me on whatever the hell this is.
Kidding. Did you watch it all?
No, you're gonna play me a song and we're gonna move on.
Oh, well, we're gonna move on. All right, okay.
I
was also gonna
kidding. I don't need you to sell me on it.
I was also already gonna say that I was what's kidding, and then there was something else. Oh, I watched his documentary on ZZ Top the other night.
I watched the trailer for it, and by the trailer I mean the little 60-second clip that plays on Netflix, and I saw Billy Bob Thornton talking about them very passionately, and you know what I said to myself? I'm going to watch that soon. Haven't done it yet.
Really good. Got a lot of good talking heads. And I'll throw it in mini reviews when we get there. But I did watch Spencer Confidential with Marky Mark. So I'll do my review after you do yours.
Okay.
Let's
song.
do another. Let's see.
I think this will be the other true test. If you sell me on them, I'll actually go back and drop these in. If I hate it, this is all the people get. Let's just play through a speaker. Okay, I'm teetering back towards interested, but I'm just being completely honest with you. Because of the way the first one went, I'm not completely sold. So I'm assuming that maybe you've saved the best for last.
Oh, of course.
And I'm gonna let you do 3, but
that's why I did it this way, because like there's a ton to go from, but I want to play you the best one as the last one just to sell you to see if you would actually like. I mean, you don't even have to put the other ones in here. You just put the best for last one I put on there. You just drop the names.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay, all right.
But for now,
mini reviews.
I got some mini reviews
Hit
for
me.
you. I've been sitting on my couch a little bit, and I did go out to a theater. Probably, some people are like, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing?" But I did.
You are putting your life in your own hands for the people, for the viewers, for the listeners. We appreciate you.
Gotta be honest with you. You know how many people were in that theater? Other than myself and Mr. Brendan Riley?
What?
2.
So your exposure rate was low. That's good.
And we sat far apart. Almost, they were the only other reserved seats when I got tickets. Mm-hmm. And they literally looked like they chose to pick the farthest seat away humanly possible from where anybody else would sit. They were up in the top right-hand corner. You know, the extra seats that sit over the
little
exit area? Yeah, that's where they were. Okay. Said movie is The Way Back, starring one Mr. Ben Affleck. Perhaps you've heard about it. Perhaps you've seen any of the numerous press tour outings. His rehabilitation. Rehabilitation? Am I saying that correctly? Rehabilitation. Say it.
Rehabilitation.
Okay. Tour, if you will. You know nothing about this.
The Way Back?
We host a movie podcast. All I ask you to do, take a look at what's coming out every once in a while, okay? Watch some trailers.
Back? What's it about?
It is about a former high school star basketball player who's fallen on hard times. Working construction, and he's an alcoholic. Okay.
Was this in Charlestown?
What's that?
Or is it in Southie? Or
I think it's West Coast. I don't even know if they're ever specific about it, but I think it's just... Anyways,
Is it Wicked Smart?
It's Catholic high school basketball. He does not have a Boston accent.
Oh, so he doesn't Kevin Costner the movie.
He's not leaning on the accent. No.
Okay.
Okay. But basically, he's an alcoholic, and he gets offered a job to come in and coach the failing basketball team at the school that he used to play for, where he was a star, and come back and coach the kids. It's a tale as old as time. You know, it is what it is. It's a little paint by numbers, but it's effective. And for me, I'm always rooting for the dude. I know that's maybe a controversial opinion, especially in the last few months. Some people are just like, dude, I'm kind of over him, trying to win everybody back over, and
See, I felt like
cheated
that's
on Jennifer Garner. I don't care. Fuck this guy. I'm out.
See, I felt like that's what that Casey Affleck movie was all about.
Which one?
The one where it's there's no other women on the planet left, and him and his daughter trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic thing. I feel like that was an apology. I'm sorry.
And I feel that's also why you didn't see any marketing around that movie whatsoever. But I know the one you're talking about.
I just feel like he's trying to apologize and get back in people's good graces for all the bullshit.
It did have that vibe to it from the trailer.
I didn't know people were mad at Ben Affleck, so I didn't know what the deal was. I thought we all liked him.
No. He's been a controversial figure since the J-Lo days. You know this. There's always people that hate him.
I can see through him, though.
Damon is the favored son, if you will, between the two. Okay, well, we can at least agree on that. But you and I have always enjoyed him.
Yeah.
I'm always rooting for Affleck. But yeah, in general and in pop, because you don't think of that because you remember there was the resurgence. You had... He just directed Gone Baby Gone. He did The Town. He won an Oscar for Argo. All of that stuff happened, and then he became Batman. And then people started jabbing and prodding at him. He had some substance abuse issues. Goes into AA a couple different times, I believe. Very public divorce. Still tabloid fodder all over the place. He's just
that tattoo doesn't do anything for you. That's really the only thing I can say. I'm come on, man.
Back tats, anyways. Oh, and I forgot to mention in the midst of that, Gone Girl, which is basically the other big metatextual movie that's essentially he's technically playing a character and it's the adaptation of a novel, but it's clearly about Ben Affleck the man, or at least that's what Fincher's trying to do.
I gotcha.
But anyways, so it's kind of run in the mill. It's what you expect from it. It satisfies all of the beats you need to hit in that type of movie. It has some mild subversions of it. I want it to be a little more subversive. Okay. It's Gavin O'Connor. He did Warrior.
Yeah.
Which
I haven't seen all the way through.
Warrior's a good movie. I mean, dude, you gotta get to the end.
I know. I keep trying to get there, and I know it's good, and I can't finish.
I would maybe say that this does not quite stack up to that in terms of the emotional punch for me personally, but I thought he was rock solid in it. I won't say the best he's been in years or anything like that because I always think that he's good. I don't I'm not one of those people who's oh, he was terrible in that. I like him. I wouldn't say he's my favorite actor or one of my 20 favorite actors, but I like him and I'm always rooting for him. Most of it's tied to the Kevin Smith movies, dude, where I still feel he's incredible. Dogman is an incredible performance, but nobody talks about it in the canon of his great movies. And it is.
You can't have a good one that early out, though. That's the thing.
I see. That's not.
I mean, he's the Bond Phantoms, and no one talks about that either.
Have you seen Jay and Silent Bob reboot?
No, I need to.
We'll talk about it afterwards. Anyways, The Way Back. If you're in the mood for just a solid sports movie that, at the end of the day, is not that focused on the basketball,
kind of like Finding Forrester,
for sure. Okay. Honestly, the amount of screen time probably equivalent.
Okay.
The on court, off the court stuff for sure. Solid movie. That's what I'll say. It's a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's not going to light the world on fire, but I would say go check it out. Obviously, nobody's going to the theaters. There was nobody in the theater. It didn't do well the weekend it came out, possibly due to coronavirus, possibly due to ill will towards his whole he has been all over the place in terms of the interview circuit, openly talking about his struggles with alcoholism, how it relates to the movie, and selling hard for the movie. And maybe part of that's because it is an R-rated version of this story. The other movie that has a bit in common with, which I find far superior, it's one of my favorite movies ever, is Half Nelson.
Okay.
That's the tonally what I would more equate it to, even though Half Nelson is way more like... This movie's grounded but still falls into, again, tropes of the genre. Half Nelson is just like one of the most humanistic, realistic movies I've ever fucking seen. I adore that movie. Anyways, okay. That was the way back. So I would give it a mild. I'm not stealing the thumbs up. I'm not going to do that. I recommend it. I thought it was solid. Okay?
Okay.
I also saw a movie called Deerskin. Do you know anything about Deerskin?
I don't know.
Okay. Deerskin is the latest from Mr. Quentin Dupieux, the director of one movie that you may have seen called Rubber.
Don't
remember Rubber, the killer tire movie. I never made you watch Rubber.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, this is gonna be a really hard conversation to have then, because you need to see him. He's an absurdist. He's a surrealist. He's the French Lynch, if you will.
The French Lynch.
Lynch. But way more, with a far more outwardly comedic bent to him. But yeah, he made the movie Rubber, Wrong Cops, Reality. None of these are ringing a bell for you. Deerskin is his latest. Stars one Mr. Juan Dujardin. The best actor winner for The Artist. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that guy.
Jean Dujardin.
Yeah.
I'm not good with
Jean
the
Dujardin. Jean Dujardin. Yeah.
Yes. He is the lead. I'm gonna give you just the log line. Let's see what they got here. A man's obsession with his designer deerskin jacket causes him to blow his life savings and turn to crime. That's not how I would describe this movie. Not a good description written by Anonymous on IMDb. It's basically a dude's going through a midlife crisis. He finds this deerskin jacket, and he's got to have it. He loves it. And so he's in the French countryside, and in purchasing this deerskin jacket, he also gets a video camera. So he starts filming some stuff, and things escalate from there. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's an hour and 17 minutes. It is very short. It is very bad shit. I saw this in a theater with 2 other people, and it was a pretty wild experience, except it was in a theater with 2 people who laughed at everything like it was the funniest goddamn thing they'd ever seen. And I wanted to be like, guys, it's funny, but it's not
laugh
that
out loud
kind of funny. I'm like, you guys are almost killing the experience more. And of course, it's subtitled. It's in French, so it's a lot of just, I'm talking like Max Cady, fucking Cape Fear type laughter.
Oh my God.
Guys, chill the fuck out. But I enjoyed it. It was crazy. Probably my favorite thing he's done since Rubber. I would say start with Rubber. If you don't go for it, you're not going to like suddenly click in with his vibe. I think you would enjoy him. You'd get a kick out of Rubber at the very least. Watch that one for me, and then maybe we can talk about Deerskin down the road.
Okay.
But for anybody out there just looking for you just like your shit a little weird, a little twisted, a little funky, go watch the trailer. Trailer's a perfect tonal indication of the movie. And I recommend this one as well. It's called Deerskin, directed by Mr. Quentin Dupieux, and it's probably playing in a theater near you. If you have a cool indie theater, should be playing for the next week or so. Okay. I got one final one for you.
Okay.
I'm wondering if maybe you saw this. I don't know. On paper, this movie sounds like our dream movie. Okay? Just listen. A group of war veterans must defend their local...
No, let's not talk about this, because I wanted to watch it. I didn't. Did you rent it?
I rented it on PlayStation because it's tied to my card. I didn't want to do it on the Prime account.
Okay, all right.
So no, you can't watch it from the rental that I did 2 weeks ago.
That's what I was asking, because I saw that. Well, it showed up in Prime that you had watched it.
No, I saved it to my watch list to remind myself.
Okay, well, whatever you did, I thought you downloaded it through that, and I was going to yell at you and be like, "You motherfucker!"
I would have told you if it was.
I hope that was what I was hoping. Okay, I want to hear your review, but I also want to talk to you about it because I want to watch that shit. And now that I know you.
I was secretly hoping that you hadn't heard about it because I was going to read you that description and then
I know exactly what it is.
By the way,
say what you want to say. I'm just going to tune out for a minute.
I won't say anything. I was going to
read the description.
By
you
giving,
sold it to me.
Oh my God. Okay, a group of war veterans must defend their local VFW post and an innocent teen against a deranged drug dealer and his relentless army of punk mutants. Okay?
It's like Hobo with a Shotgun meets Green Room.
The whole point is starring as said VFW members. I'm gonna go. What order do we want to do this? George Wendt, Norm from Cheers.
Yes,
he's in here. Bill Sadler.
Oh yeah.
Fred Williamson.
Fuck.
And his son.
What?
Yeah.
The Hammer. Didn't they used to call him the Hammer?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Mr. Cobra Kai himself.
Oh, dude.
Martin Cove.
That sold it for me when I saw that in the trailer.
But then you got some cherries on top. You got a little DPK action in here. A little David Patrick Kelly, who's literally basically playing. I will spoil this for you. Watch this movie and tell me that he did not walk directly off the set of Twin Peaks: The Return in character and walk onto the set of VFW, because he is dressed almost exactly the same. He's a huge stoner, and he might as well still be in Twin Peaks: The Return. I swear to God, when you watch this. Okay.
So they didn't put him in Warrior get up? They didn't give him like the...
No,
they should have. Oh, dude, they should have, man.
He is... No, but I loved it because I was just like, dude, it literally...
They caught him at the right time. Like they shot all his stuff like 4 years ago.
He was like, guys, I literally can't change my wardrobe. Like, David needs me back there. I got like...
Or maybe
you got a day.
Maybe they did, and it was recent, and he couldn't tell anybody why he couldn't change because they're shooting more shit for him.
I mean, that would be really cool.
That would be amazing.
Anyways, so yeah, you got DPK in there.
Okay.
But then, I mean, the Big Daddy and the lead of this movie, Mr. fucking Party Crasher himself, Stephen Lang, is the lead. So again, I'm not trying to spoil it for you. You say what you're going to say. On paper, yes, tailor-made for us. You're going to enjoy it. We can talk about it more in depth afterwards. That's all I'm going to say.
I get the feeling from that you really didn't care, that you're not as amped after watching it, though.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. We'll see.
You're still, again, you're going to get a base level of enjoyment, but the two movies that we just shouted out, what'd you say? Green Room meets...
Hobo with a Shotgun.
Tied in with a little bit of From Dusk Till Dawn.
How would you feel, though, if, like, Rugger Hauer was one of those VFW guys?
I mean, sadly, he's not with
I know, I'm saying, like, if he was. Like, because I feel like maybe you trade him into the Bill Sadler rollout, and you're just like... Sadler
everybody works in here, and everybody's...
We'll just add him in there.
Everybody's
I just feel like he would be...
To be clear. All of these guys are knocking it out of the park.
That's what I heard.
That's what works about the movie. The plot.
Because I heard tangentially through other things that these people were doing this movie, and I was just like, that sounds dope. I saw it pop up.
I will tell you this as well. It just scratches a little bit of that Chuck Hank itch.
Really?
Just a little bit.
Okay, good. That'll work.
But also leaves you thinking, like, Chuck Hank's going to be way better than this.
So, okay, because I want to get to this with The Outsider. The Outsider scratched that, like, little bit of, like, Where's My True Detective Season 4. Yeah. So if this scratches a little bit of my my Chuck Hank.
Where the hell is Chuck Hank and the San Diego Twins?
I feel like that should just be
the movie.
Where
in the world is Chuck Hank and the San Diego
They should just release the movie and call it that. As long as it's been now, not Chuck Hank and the San Diego Twins. It's Where in the World is R. Where in the World are Chuck, and like release that. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Dude, to the point where like you remember in the teaser, the movie takes place on flat Earth.
Yeah,
I feel like them doing that was even prior to the whole flat earthers like movement that happened a couple of years ago.
Like someone saw it and started the movement from that.
It honestly, I'm like, I think it predates the whole flat earther conspiracy, at least being like a huge thing. And it's just so random and weird to me. But anyways, we're always waiting for it. Check out VFW. We'll talk about it.
You know what really pissed me off?
What's that?
So apparently now I guess Walmart sells these old school arcade things. I walked by one the other day in a Walmart and somebody had put together the Ninja Turtles one. Like the old school, like Konami Ninja Turtles in Time deal. And there was a guy playing it. And for some reason, like the side-scrolling part of it made me think like, fucking Chuck Hank and the San Diego Twins. That movie isn't out yet. Because it's like right next to the movies. And I thought I saw like...
They were doing some last-minute reshoots apparently as early as like January of this year. I don't know what's going on with it, but we are Patreon subscribers, so supposedly whenever it drops, we'll see it before anybody else. That's all we can hope for. Okay, it's getting late.
I saw Spencer Confidential. I recommend it. That's my review.
You what?
Spencer Confidential.
How did you feel about it?
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, okay.
I like that Mark. No, listen.
Classic Gavin review.
Listen, okay. Let me pitch it to you this way. Pete Berg, Marky Mark, not a real person. It's just a book series. There's like 400 books. They picked one of the most serviceable books. The big guy from Us is in it.
Winston Duke.
Duke, that's his name. He's in it. You got Alan Arkin, I think, is in it as the other guy. Post Malone makes a cameo.
I'm aware of who's in it.
Okay.
But, like, seriously, sell me on it, because, like, why do I care? Why do I care?
See, that's the whole point of it, dude. Why do you care? No one cares. When Spencer, when he goes upstate for beating the shit out of his police captain, no one cared. When he gets out of prison, guess what? That police captain gets murdered. Why? Because that police captain and the other police officers that he had some unfair doings in, shit's coming home to roost. And no one cares. No one cares. Spencer's going to leave. He's going to go to Arizona and drive trucks. But you know what? He can't let it go. Why? Because he's a good, honest Boston cop from Southie that just wants to do the right thing. In a world where no one wants to do the right thing.
The accent this whole movie?
He's got it down. I got a scene I want to play you right now. It made me laugh my ass off. I'll play it for you off mic, but it'll make you laugh. It'll sell the movie for you.
Okay.
I love it.
So
he gets beat up a lot, dude. If anything, you like watching Marky Mark take a punch or two, watch it for that. But it's really good.
Soft recommends on the way back and VFW. I have a hard recommend on Deerskin. For the initiated, but again, if you're not aware of Mr. QD, don't dive into this one first.
Don't fucking talk to me like Bane over here, initiated.
And then I guess hard recommend for Spencer Confidential on Netflix from Gavin.
Dude, it's number 2 in the nation today.
I'm gonna watch it.
Okay,
I just
good.
haven't gotten to it yet. There's been a lot of other things.
I'm sure, but this is just a nice treat that just showed up. So why not?
No, I'm gonna throw it on.
Yeah.
It'll probably be my Sunday.
Yeah.
That'll be part of my Sunday.
You'll enjoy it, I promise.
Okay. All right. Are we done with the mini reviews?
Yeah. I'm gonna play you the last one. It's gonna get you on board with this band, and then I'm gonna run through my top 20 real quick.
Yeah, you're gonna do it real quick.
You ready? Here we go.
Real quick, like. I like these guys. Okay.
You've heard this? Have I played this for you?
No, I hear this song. Legit. Please turn it off.
I gotta hear the chorus, brother. It's my favorite part. You didn't know it was Split Ends, did you?
I didn't know. No, I had no idea.
You know where else you know Split Ends from?
Where, Gavin? Where?
So, Neil Finn comes in, takes over his brother Tim's band. They disband. 2 years later, they rename. They opened up as another New Zealand band, and they give us this gem.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so basically Split Ends, the 80s output of Split Ends from New Zealand is Neil Finn's band before he founded Crowded House and then he went out on his own. I Got You used to play all the time on my radio. I downloaded it. It was not available I used to have it on my Apple iTunes. And it was literally, it was not available on that, Spotify, anything for like 6 months. It was like this weird dispute, I think, with like New Zealand over being able to own it for a copyright deal. But it just became available again on Apple Music. I've been saving that for what I've been listening to for like 6 months. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to try and sell them on that. Their back catalog, it's a really progressive stuff, a lot like maybe like early Genesis. But when you get into the 80s stuff, it's not so much experimental. It's more new wave, prog. It's really neat. Some neat stuff in there. I think you would enjoy if you're on a new wave kick and you want to go back and you want something that's not like down the traditional route that's you always hear from. But Split Ends.
Okay.
The song is I Got You.
The last one you played me?
I Got You. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
That's the hit.
Well, I gotta be. It may just be a radio thing. I hear that song seriously, like 5 or 6 times a week.
I've never heard it on the radio.
I fucking hate that song at this point. And again, it's not like, oh, I like hated it from the start. I probably enjoyed it at some point when I was first hearing it, but it's just been beaten into my brain. And yeah, I'm definitely a dummy because I didn't know that became a Crowded House. I gotta be honest with you though, I'm
not sold.
Not sold.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll be digging into Neil Fenn's back catalog anytime soon. But to be fair, you're the Crowded House guy, man. I'm more of a talk guy.
Dude, I'm not a Crowded House guy. I'm a fucking talk guy. I just thought it was a neat thing.
I mean, you do like a Crowded House.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I know the feeling of liberation and relief, Noah. It's okay.
All right.
You can turn right over the TV page. I'm going to talk to you about my top 20 of the last decade.
Do.
Ready? Here we go.
We can
Speed Fire. Number 20. Survive. RR7349 is the name of the album. Okay. Song? ATD.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
There's no way anybody's going to keep track of this.
No. Number 19. M83.
M83.
M83. The album's called Junk.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, was it Midnight?
Surprised you didn't go with the...
No, Wide Awake and Dreaming's too much, man. You got to listen to Junk. There's a lot more better overall. The Wide Awake and We're Dreaming, there's maybe like 3 or 4 in a sequence, and you're like, that's amazing. These guys are dope. Junk, more of a whole... You guys said it was favorites. You guys said it was your favorite.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Of it, that's my favorite because it's more of a whole album, more stuff I can get into.
Okay.
Number 7, Grimes, Oblivion.
17,
Grimes. Oh, no, sorry, 18. Jamie XX in Color. I mentioned it last time.
Okay.
It's been on heavy rotation ever since. One of my new favorites of that decade.
No surpriser.
But not one that I would...
electronic stuff so far. Continue.
Yeah. Number 17, Grimes, Oblivion.
Okay.
Mid-album, not the new one, but midway through.
Very good.
Number 16, Danger Days from My Chemical Romance. Fabulous, was it the Danger Days, The Fabulous Lives of the Killjoys?
True Lives, The Fabulous Killjoys.
True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. That one, because it's the only thing we have from the last decade. Upset.
That's very true.
We're not talking about them anymore, because fuck you.
Right.
Number 15, Daft Punk, Ram, Random Access Memory. Specifically, my favorite off of it is the Giorgio Giovanni, the whole thing about like, take the synthesizer and I'm going to do like that. That's one of my favorites. But that whole album, if you like electronic, that's it. Go for it. Number 14, Blood on the Reed, Mr. Tim Capello. Okay,
All right,
ride or
man.
die for Tim Capello and fucking jazz. Not jazz.
Respect
Saxophone.
the sax, man.
Respect
the
that
sax.
shit.
Right.
Songs from Room 1, Chris Stapleton is my number 13.
Okay.
All right. Number 12 is Francis and the Light, and it's Goodbye Starlight, I think is the name of it. It's the one that's got Friends on it. Chance and a lot of people use a lot of samples from this one in their later stuff.
This is the first one you've hit that I'm completely lost on.
Francis and the Light. I'll play you some after we're done here.
Unfamiliar.
All right. Number 11, The Revivalists.
I'm making my internal list / actually putting this in my Spotify for. And we should say we'll make a little Spotify playlist.
Yeah, I've got it actually here.
So it would be very perfect if you just send that to me. I'll put it together for you.
Yeah. Number 11, Revivalists, Men Among Monsters, specifically when you were young. Number 9,
another song I hear
all the time
day at work.
Well, then maybe do Monster. That's a good one. It's like slow down kind of whatever. Or,
I mean, I didn't say
Family.
it's not a good song.
Oh yeah, no. Just if you want to mix it up.
Yeah.
Number 10, AFI, Burials. If I'm gonna shout
How
out
many
one
did they have this decade?
Oh man, they had Crash Love,
3 or 4.
Crash Love, Burials, the Blood album, and then the Missing Man EP. They had 4 which is not bad considering you do have the black audio
You're going
outlet.
with Burials, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
With Burials. And I'm going to go
That's
with
the tour
Anxious.
we saw them on, right?
I came down
Right after
here.
Burials.
Yeah, and I got stuck in traffic on the way home. It fucking sucked.
All right.
Number 9.
Shit, we're already in the top 10.
Yeah,
Okay,
number 10 was Burials. I'm going to go with Anxious off of that one if I had to pick a song. Number 9 is Torches by Foster the People, their first album. I don't have to go with Helena Beat. Probably my favorite song off that album. There's a lot of classics on there. You thought I was probably going to go Pumped Up Kicks, but I'm not.
That has Houdini on it, right?
And Houdini, yeah.
That would be my pick.
Yeah, that's a good one. Number 3, I cheated. Or sorry, number 3. Number 8, I cheated. I mashed 2 together because they're both really great, but they're also the only output you get from this band. So my number 8 is Mo Mumps. As in Moline and Mumps all together. But number 8 is Y, Moline and Mumps. So Mo Mumps is what I called it.
I respect the cheat. I had Moline on Moline. I've been working on it, man.
That's why I call Mo Mumps. It's just easier to do it that way.
Yeah.
Mo Mumps.
But yes, represent for Y and When the Sun Sets East. I love it. Continue.
Number 7, I would go with the song. I don't know what I would go with this. I like called Ticketron, but RTJ3, number 7.
Also on my list.
Yep. Number 6, I would go with Unfuckwittable off of Indicud by Kid Cudi. A lot of output. Literally the last 6, I want to just say everything they did last decade, but I made a stand on most of them.
Which album has oh my gosh, I'm just gonna have to look it up. You keep talking.
Which one are you looking for? What are you thinking of?
Keep
Unfuckwittable.
Just keep going through your list. You're all good.
Number 5, Dark All Day from Dark All Day by
Excuse me.
Gunship.
Passion, Pain, and Demon Slayer.
That's the one with Andre on a bunch.
Specifically by design, featuring Andre Benjamin.
That is that's the best off that album.
That would be my jam on that one. So, but you're saying Indicud from 2013.
I just love that you get Unfuckwittable. You get all this stuff about how he's this dope dude, all this kind of shit, but then he peels the veil back a little bit with Red Eye, with the with Haim being on most of the song, and kind of lets them take front seat and just basically tells you man, shit gets crazy. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I don't know what the fuck to do. What am I supposed to do? It's like a weird
Michael
veil.
Bolton cameo.
Yeah.
On this album.
Fuck yeah, dude.
All right.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
So yeah,
I honestly, I don't think I've ever listened to this one start to finish.
It's pretty good. There's a bunch of
man puts out a lot of music. Wow.
Yeah,
at least in the last decade. Holy shit.
Powers. There's an opener from Adam Sandler, and then the opening of Unfuckwittable is The Good Son, Macaulay Culkin. Yeah, you can fly. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. He uses all this, and that's why he's one of the only hip hop guys on the list, is because there's such a reverence for things I like, but also to speak about things that I don't remember a lot of other people talking about during the decade, which I can appreciate. I don't know if you missed it. My number 5, Gunship, Dark All Day.
I don't think it cracked my top 20.
Yeah,
but
number 4,
that album. Love that record.
Number 4 is a cheat again. The Weeknd. I've said The Weeknd, Kiss the Beauty Behind the Starboy, because literally Kissland, Beauty Behind the Madness, and Starboy are 3 amazing albums. Nobody listened to Kissland. I'm probably the only person alive that that knows what Kissland is. But it's still, I put it up there it's Starboy, Kissland, Beauty Behind the Madness. That's how much I love that one compared to the one that broke him out and let him do Starboy.
Did you watch him on SNL?
I haven't yet. I need to.
And you still haven't watched Uncut Gems?
I'm going to watch
Again,
that tonight.
not to overhype him. Yeah. It's not like he's,
He's in there for 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, less.
Yeah, so yeah, I knew that. Number 3, Strange Desires from Bleachers. Their first album, one of my favorites. Specifically, I Want to Get Better. It's one of those catchy ones. It's really deep and meaningful for something, but also, I don't know. A lot of bands I feel in the what?
I can't remember if you and I have ever discussed this, but it came up when Veronica and I were watching High Fidelity, because Jack Antonoff is in an episode playing himself.
Oh, good.
As a producer, working at Electric Lady Studios, and I just, because it so rarely gets to happen, I was like, yeah, I shook his hand. I've met him before. Yeah.
What?
Way before Fun broke. Okay, on their second album.
Yeah.
With Some Nights and the stuff.
Yeah,
that
the one everyone
knows.
knows. Yeah, I remember the first album. Yeah.
I believe it was Aim McKnight or something. I forget the name of the first one, but they were touring. They were on tour with Manchester Orchestra. They were in support of Manchester. Okay,
but and Nathan was opening first bill for them. Is this how this happened?
No, that fun tour where All Get Out open was
no. Was All Get Out on this Manchester?
No. It was fun, Manchester. I forget who the third band. What? This was when I was in Florida, randomly. I can't remember if we drove down there specifically for the show or what it was. I forget exactly what happened. But, anyways, this is like right after that first Fun record came out. Mm-hmm. There's still, I mean, he's coming back from the format, which had a huge following, but he's rebuilding his, fan base essentially.
This is a stop on his blip on his radar.
And so they're all just, because again, the level they were at that point, they're all just hanging out, around. And so it was literally as simple as like, hey man, enjoyed your set. It was one of those, but it's, literally like 2 years later, they were inescapable. And then a few years beyond that, he's like one of the most well-known pop producers on the planet. And I was like, the guy was, for the 2 seconds I met him, he seemed like a pretty nice dude. He was like, hey, thanks, man. So.
That's crazy, dude. I didn't know that story. I fucking hate you even more now. There's so many people you've met that I haven't that I'm just really bummed about. But that's awesome. I'm really jealous.
So, yeah. Shout out to that album that I've actually never listened to, but shout out to Jack Antonoff.
Yeah, man. Anything that guy does, he's my dude from now on. I'll just, I remember reading about whenever What's-Her-Face couldn't record because of that contract bullshit. He was one of the first people to be like, hey, Kesha, come record with me. I'll release the shit for free. I don't care. And I think he did wind up working with her on her most recent album, but he's lyrically and sonically, music-wise, I feel
he's produced the last 2 Taylor Swift albums, I believe. He's apparently, I just heard this recently because I listened to, I'll plug another podcast right here, Questlove Supreme. Great interview show.
Still nothing out of that cookbook, right?
Not yet. Gavin got me Questlove's. Is it Questlove or is it the Roots cookbook?
It's his cookbook. It's just a Questlove cookbook.
Celebrity cookbook with different recipes inspired by different friends. No, I have not cooked anything out of it yet. But anyways, Questlove Supreme, they had Miss Zoe Kravitz on in support of High Fidelity.
Okay.
They've been friends for forever, I guess, basically. So they get into a lot of cool details. I forget why I started telling you this story. What were we just talking about?
Jack Antonoff.
Thank you. Excuse me. But I will recommend that episode because, again, they're talking about High Fidelity or whatever. But
and he's on the show.
Great interview.
Yes, I have to go check it out now, honestly.
And Questlove is the music producer.
He's one of those that's I don't try and listen to or I don't try and I follow him on Twitter and stuff like that. But I don't try and know what's going on because I just want him to just give me stuff, and I can just go listen to it because I'm afraid if I keep when's this happening? When's that happening? I'm just never gonna get anything. So I like to like LaRue. I love all of that. So when you
just ignored it and
it was there, it's a beautiful little treat for you.
Where are we at?
My number 2.
Holy shit! I didn't realize we'd crank through these.
Yeah, I told you I could.
You did it.
Has this list given you
finish this episode?
Has this list given you a deeper understanding of my music, Noah?
That's your number 2.
It is my number 2.
Well, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is a cheat, Noah. My number 1 is every output from the Wisconsin frontman, whatever you want to call it, Bon Iver, Justin Vernon, the trio.
Okay. Okay. I should have seen this coming. Yeah. None of them had happened yet.
Bon Iver, 22 a million, and then I.
Yeah.
It's a cheat for number 1. But again, my number 2.
Two of those records, really good. Yes. Excuse me. One of those records, really good. One of those records, a goddamn hands down masterpiece. One of those records I don't really care for.
Think about where the guy listen to the interview he does for the new one. Try and understand where he was at for the old one, and understand that was all done on the back of my second album won a Grammy. This is what people want from me. How do I go to make this good? I got problems. I got some anxieties. I got fear. This thing I love I can't do, but I'm already in it. I'm in the machine. How do I get out of it? I is how you get out of it. Think of it, look at it that way. And I think you might accept and you might appreciate the lyrical content on a lot of like the 6th song on that album, where it's basically like, I'm still standing here in need of prayer. It sounds to me like someone who is begging you to please know that I'm not okay with what's going on. I'm in need of prayer. I need someone to help me here, but I don't know how to tell you that. All I can do is make this music. And I know you maybe not shouldn't with everybody get into like what was going on with them as they're making something. You should just take it as you're giving it. But I love that second album just as much as I do the first. The first is a classic
album.
Well, sorry, the second album this decade.
Fair enough. But
22 A Million, I love just as much as I love the original, the one that preceded it. But Bon Iver is a hands down classic album. Probably my favorite album of the last decade, only eked out slightly more by the fact that I didn't get enough time with a deeper understanding. And a deeper understanding is probably, on some days, it is the best thing that I listened to last decade. And that shut down a lot of stuff. And I kick myself for not following them up sooner and not listening to that episode that you and Nate talk about them sooner.
Well,
but
here is where I will give a slight spoiler for part 2. A Deeper Understanding is my favorite album of the last decade.
Okay, all right.
Period. Hands down, flat out. Which, again, that's it. Because you may recall when we did our top 10 of 2017, it was like my number 6 or 7 or something like that. Maybe it was even 8. I don't remember. But I had it on the list.
It wasn't enough for me to know.
Yeah.
It wasn't high enough for me to think,
And it has consistently just moved its way up with every re-listen. So I will spoil that, but what we will do for right now as our sign-off is you pick which track we're playing.
From A Deeper Understanding?
Yes. Even though that's not your number 1. But.
Oh, damn.
You didn't shout it out. You had tracks ready to go for almost all the others.
I can't pick one, dude. If I'm going to pick... All right, if you're pointing me at gunpoint...
Well, again, keep in mind.
Pain. You've already played this... What?
So it's going to be a little bit of a heavy way to take this one out, but okay.
No.
We'll
you just hit him with... Hold me closer. Let me hold... Yeah.
Please don't attempt.
Give me the deeper understanding of who I am. That fucking voice, man. Like, it's like every guy you would want to have his voice from the 80s plus Bob Dylan into one.
Yeah, okay. We're going with that.
We're going...
What? Okay. Jesus Christ.
You didn't listen to Pete Berg? He tells a story about going over to see... He was good friends with Jacob Dylan and Bob Dylan's daughter. Apparently he goes over to the house one day and he can hear people yelling, the door's unlocked, and he's kind of knocking like, hey, so-and-so, so-and-so. And all he says is Bob Dylan comes out of this hallway and he yells back in the room, and I ain't buying no more noses. And he walks down the hallway and into another. He just walks completely past Pete Berg like he doesn't exist and into another room because, like, apparently one of his daughters had a nose job and he wasn't paying for any more nose jobs. I just thought you would appreciate that.
Okay, here's my suggestion. For you said you don't have a podcast. Your podcast should be you telling other people about stuff that you heard on podcasts. Okay, and you just put all of that.
Is that what we call it? Can we call it that?
Yeah,
you heard
sure.
This shit?
You call it whatever you want to call it, but you get a steady co-host, and you just a person who doesn't listen to podcasts, and they are your co-host for a podcast, and you just tell them about podcasts. It's the final frontier.
Second-hand casting? Is that what it is?
You take your time.
No, I'm not asking for the title, but it's a second-hand casting is what you're saying. They don't listen to it firsthand. They're getting my play-by-play review of it as
a podcast, though.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. Ouroboros, I believe, is the phrase.
Sure.
Snake eating its own tail.
Ouroboros?
I only know it because of adaptation starring one Mr. Nicolas Cage.
I thought that was a virus from Resident Evil 5, the game. The Ouroboros virus.
Yeah, did you not catch the snakes in that logo?
No, never.
Ouroboros is a snake eating its own tail.
Yeah, well, we're not far from the 3 remakes, so that's all that matters.
Okay.
All right.
Until next time.
Wash your hands, cover your mouth.
All the stuff Gavin said about an hour ago.
Yes.
By the way.
Yeah. It still remains, it's still important.
We're really delivering on the extended, long form content or whatever. I definitely need to put in show notes so people can navigate their way through this one. Okay. Until next time, for the ARK of E podcast, I have been Noah.
And I've been Gavin.
And we've been the Blanchard Brothers. Check 1 2 testing 1 testing 2 testing 3 Human Torch denied
a bank loan. He was denied a motherfucking bank loan.
The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. Barry Shabaka Henley likes baklava and Hennessy.
Mayor Winningham was in Miracle Mile with Anthony Edwards.
Do you want to try it again, make it
Mayor
rhyme or
Winningham.
something?
No, hang on.
Why'd you pick Winningham? Not like what rhymes with Winningham?
Bennington.
Bennington. Okay, I think we got enough.
Yeah,